Hi everybody, so today I wanted to do an update on my contour, highlight, and blush routine. So I don't want this video to be too long, so I'm just going to jump right on into it and tell you guys what I have on my cheeks right now. I did accidentally start applying my bronzer to this side, so I'm actually just going to like reapply it or like apply a little bit more to kind of give you guys the idea of how I do it. I only have my bronzer on at the moment, so it's not too crazy. So for my bronzer today, I have my Essence Sun Club bronzer, and this one's in the brunette shade in 02 Sun Glow. This one is a shimmery bronzer, but they do have a matte version, and you can use a matte bronzer if you prefer. I don't mind. I kind of use both depending on the look that I'm going for, but I haven't used this one in a while, so I decided to use it. So the way that I apply my bronzers, I actually use a e.l.f. flat top brush. This is my favorite way to apply bronzers. I find that it blends it out the best, and it gives me more of like that seamless, like smooth finish that I prefer. So I use this, and the way that I do it is I start basically the way anybody would bronze, but I start really low. So I'll start where my contour would be, and I blend it a little bit higher, almost to where your blush would go. Because I find that once I apply my blush, it'll blend it down just a little bit to where it'll look natural and it'll blend a little bit easier, and the colors won't look like two separate products. They'll blend like into one. So I apply it with this basically just by tapping the product into my cheek in that area, and then once it's tapped down, I will start like buffing back and forth, and I kind of bring it around to the edge of my eye. I don't really bring it in all the way. It doesn't look natural that way, and it can make you almost look dead if you bring contours and bronzers way too far into your cheeks, because it'll slim down the bottom of your face way too much. So I apply this just towards the outer edge of my eye and just kind of buff it back and forth, and then I take a little bit of product and I apply it to the forehead and the temple area. I don't do that to kind of contour my forehead. I do it mainly to even out the color. So if the bronzer and the blush are all down here and you're adding color all to the bottom, you want to make sure you balance out your face and apply it to the top as well. And you can even apply it down underneath your chin and any other areas that you prefer, but my two major areas that I apply bronzer and contour is my cheekbones and my temple. So just keep that in mind, is you want to balance out the face. You don't want to just have it where your cheeks are. So once I have my bronzer, I will go ahead and do a contour. Now, contouring and bronzing are two separate things. Contouring adds like definition and it sculpts your face. Bronzing adds color and adds like glow to your face. So what you do for a contour is you would take like a cooler tone powder, a darker tone powder, anything that's gonna really define and chisel out your cheekbones. So some products that I use, there are a few that I love. There's the Maybelline Fit Me Press Powder, and this is in the shade 360 Mocha. This one's really, really dark. You can find different powders that are like this, like the Ulta Contour Kit I have has a darker powder like this. There's so many different powders that you can find. I just use like darker face powders a lot of the time, so definitely you can go just to like the local drugstore and find your favorite face powder just in a darker shade and it'll work. The other one that I love, which is more like a high-end powder, is the Lancome Dual Finish Powder, and I have this in the shade 560 Suede C. So this is just a very dark, cool tone powder again. And then the one that I'm going to use today is actually super, super cheap. It's the e.l.f. Clarifying Press Powder, and it's only $1, and this is in the shade Toffee. Mine's a little, like, jacked up because I tried to press it in because mine actually cracked and it just looks like weird now, but don't mind that. It's really, really good. I love this powder and it's only $1, so definitely pick this up because you can get it on like 50% off sales at e.l.f. for like 50 cents, so definitely check it out. So for my contour brush, I guess, I just use a smaller, more like a highlight or like detail type brush. I don't like to go in with something that's like really fluffy like the e.l.f. flat top because I find that this doesn't give me the definition something like this will give me. So I'll take something that's smaller like this and I'll just swirl it into my powder, tap off the extra, and the way that I do this is I start way back towards my hairline again, and I just create a line at the base of my cheekbone. If you have hard times finding your cheekbones, it's where it sinks in. There's also like from the top of your ear to the corner of your mouth. Basically, it's just like that little dip right underneath the high point of your cheek. So I kind of just draw a line and I just go back and forth to kind of pick up that color. And once that color is placed, as you can see, it really chisels out your cheeks. You want to make sure that it's fully blended, so you can go back over it with that bronzer brush, and that'll just blend up the line a little bit so that it's a little bit more seamless. But again, it's just going to chisel out your cheeks. Now, another thing that you can do if you find that your face isn't like fully even or the color isn't really matching is to really contour out like your nose, contour out your lip, just kind of contour all the areas that you can, because that will balance out the color and everything. But just beware of things like your nose, because those types of contouring can get out of hand. I'm not going to do it because I am not really good at doing like nose contouring and things like that, just because my nose is kind of small, so I don't practice it a lot, and I don't want to give you guys tips on something that I don't practice a lot. So definitely check out some tutorials on how to contour your nose if you find that your face isn't looking like very seamless. Also, changing up the bronzers and the contours that you're using, maybe lighten them up a little bit or darken them up depending on what your skin tone is to get it to look very seamless. I don't mind a harsh bronzer and blush and highlight, but if you want it to look a lot more natural, you really got to play with the tones that you're using on your skin. So once I have that, I can take that small brush and just run a little bit right along the temples, just a small amount. Again, this is just to even out the tone of the bronzers. So once I have that, I can start with my blush. So the blush that I'm going to use today is the NYC Cheek Glow in the shade 650 Nolita Pink. It's just a brighter pink. And I take this onto a multitude of different brushes. I like brushes like this. This is the Bare Minerals Flawless Face and Eye. But I do use different types of brushes, such as like the F40 by Sigma, which is a contour, like angled brush. I do use like fluffy brushes like this, which is the Sephora Professional number 59. This was discontinued, but any like tulip style brush. I use different ones depending on how pigmented my blush is. If I need to like really pack on color, I'll use something like this or the angled brush. If the color is like really intense, I'll use like a stippling brush or that fluffy tulip brush. So depending on the blush is what brush I use, because I feel like they all give me a similar effect and similar blend, just because the highlight and the contour really blend it out a lot for me, so the brush doesn't really matter, but any type of brush will work for this. And I'm just going to take a bit of this product onto the side and tap off the extra, just because this blush is a little bit softer. So the way that I do this is I just start at the back of my cheekbone. A lot of people start like right at the apples. I find that if I do that, I get a lot of product right at the apples and it doesn't blend the way that I want it to. So I start at the back so that I can blend towards my apples, and I find that it gives me more of a chiseled look as well as more of a natural look. So definitely keep that in mind. If you find that your blush is looking a little bit unnatural or it's making your face look round or anything like that, try applying it mainly to the back of your cheekbone, and that will help kind of sculpt out the face even more. So the way that I do this is I just tap this in again. I find that tapping the product in where you want it kind of gives you a better idea of where the product's going to go first, and then just kind of buff back and forth to blend. I'm applying my highlight right now using my finger. I'm using the e.l.f. Baked Highlighter in Pink Diamond. I'm actually using my finger right now since this is a baked product. I find it applies better using your fingers, but you can use a brush depending on what you prefer. So I just applied this to the tops of my cheekbones, right on top, and I do bring it around my eye just a little bit because I find that it blends a little bit nicer and it looks a little bit nicer than having just like a stripe of highlight. highlight. If you use a matte highlighter, you can bring it into like this like triangle area right underneath your eye. Using a shimmer highlight there is not going to be what you want because it's going to draw any attention to like pores or fine lines in that area. But if you're using a matte or satin highlight, you can bring it in all the way, and a lot of people tend to do that, especially if you're using your matte highlighter as like a setting powder for your concealer. So definitely keep that in mind. Different highlights can be placed in different areas. I also like to take that highlighter actually before I put it away and take just a little bit of it and apply it to the bridge of my nose. I don't bring it down the center because I don't like the way that that makes me look oily, but just applying it to the bridge of your nose brings that highlight to that center of your face, but it doesn't make you look oily or greasy or anything like that. So that is it for my contour, highlight, and blush routine. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys got a lot of tips from this. I tried to give you guys as much information as I could. Sorry if it was like way too long as a contour and blush routine, but I just wanted to let you guys know as much as I could about how I do my cheeks. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any other questions or comments, you can leave them in the comment section below. You can also email me at dollypop23@gmail.com. That will be in the description bar, so you can send me any inspirational pictures, comments, questions, all of that good stuff. I will also have all of my social networks linked off in the bottom bar, so you can follow me on all of those. Please do, because I love interacting with all of you guys, and it's just something fun to do, and I love hearing your comments and your feedback, so definitely follow me on those. Don't forget to also subscribe and thumbs up this video. It really means a lot, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye, everybody.